Hello beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new around here. I am so happy to have you here this morning. In today's video, we are going to be discussing why I quit using Notion and why you should too. Notion right now is all the rage, all over like productivity, everything. I used Notion all throughout my first year of university last year and quite a bit into this semester as well, until recently. So I'm going to be going over all the reasons why I quit using Notion, and hopefully you feel better about why you're not using it as well. I have my notes set up here too. First and foremost, I think Notion is a really great tool, like I said. However, I don't think it's very beginner friendly. People who aren't very tech savvy, it was really difficult for me to set it up at first. It took me a lot of trial and error. You're almost kind of like forced to buy those starter packs from people or like templates to really make the most out of Notion. Some of them are really expensive. It's a learning curve to use for sure. That could be a more friendly option. However, it is more expensive. You still have to mess around with it and make it your own. So second off, Notion is not very iOS friendly. When I use it on my laptop, it's amazing. I love it. I love the formatting. But when I go to use it on my phone, it's very touchy. It's not ideal on iOS as compared to Mac or Windows. Notion is very overwhelming. What's being pushed is like you need to have it to look this way. You need to have all these different clickable things. You don't. You could literally just have a to-do list on there. If you're gonna do that, there are more friendly and free apps that let you do that, like these ones. This one is a really big one for me. Notion's calendar isn't compatible with iOS without getting like an extension. They wouldn't be synced. I would have to edit one at a time. That was really frustrating for me. I have to refer to two different calendars, and sometimes I would have to make edits to one calendar and then again on the second calendar if I wanted them to be cohesive. To be honest, I actually would forget and miss stuff on my calendar because I would forget that they're two different calendars. So now that I've kind of talked about why you should move away from Notion, I'm going to be talking about some of the supplements for Notion. First and foremost, I mentioned this earlier, but iOS apps are actually very helpful and they're compatible with iOS. Not sponsored, trial and error, this is what has worked for me. Apple Calendar I struggled with at first because it was very glitchy at times. I couldn't set up my calendars the way I wanted. However, I think now they have a lot of great solutions for that and being able to create your own custom calendars per group. For my school stuff, I have a whole school calendar, due dates, my classes as like sub calendars under those. I think that's a lot more helpful, and they sync across my devices and to my computer automatically. Also, Apple Calendar allows you to set alerts, whereas Notion you couldn't. So this way I'm actually able to get alerts when I have to leave, when I have to do a task. It's just so much more user-friendly. And then in terms of everything else that I use Notion for, so financial planning, academics, and note-taking, I have moved those all over to GoodNotes. Again, not sponsored, but I do use GoodNotes 6 on my iPad and I absolutely love it. I have the iPad 10th gen with the Apple 1st gen pencil because that's the only one that's compatible other than the new one that just came out. I have all of my notes splayed out. Super easy, super user-friendly. Amazon Magic Keyboard attachment on here as well, so I'm able to type some of my notes. The classes especially that are more wordy as opposed to something like anatomy where it's very diagram heavy, I can just draw right on it and it's amazing. I can pull stuff right from PowerPoint. So much easier than trying to use Notion and taking up so much space and having like subcategories, and I find like it's not very useful to put notes into. Or if you don't have an iPad or you don't have GoodNotes, you are able to use the Notes app on iOS, and that's something I've gone back to for my to-do list and I absolutely love. Going grocery shopping even, I would go into Notion, wait for my first page to load, have to go into my sub page and then go into my grocery list, wait for that to load. Every single time that I would go to click something off, then it would open like a tab or something. Sometimes newer is not always better, and I've actually really been enjoying Apple Calendar, Apple Notes. Anywho, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this helps you if you are deciding what to do with your productivity planning for the new year, and if you're looking at away from Notion or finding a substitute for Notion. Love you all, and I will see you in the next video.